We'd like to welcome to our studios here at Calabash TV, Mr. Colin Maximin. Sir, how are you doing? Welcome to Calabash TV.
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, thank you very much. You're welcome, sir. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, and Colin is a Saint Lucian, a Caribbean journalist who's based in the UK. He's also considered a correspondent at large. He's doing quite a lot of work writing for British newspapers and other publications. We will get a little bit on that in just a moment, but the reason why we're speaking with Colin is because he has a huge lecture coming up on the 19th of June, and it is one dealing with a very critical moment in our history, and Colin will tell us a little bit about that in just a while. We've heard of the Battle of Rabat. There was one particular lady who was key to that, Flore Bois Gaillard. We will talk a little bit about her. But Colin, first of all, give us a sense of, before we get to that lecture that you're preparing to deliver on the 19th, which is next Friday, talk to us about what, first of all, got you into the field of writing and journalism.
Yeah, journalism for me, it goes way back in the early 80s when I was back home, growing up as a youngster. I've always, even back in the 70s as a teenager growing up, I've always had a passion for it and a penchant. I decided to go into it because at the time, it really sort of started from me doing poetry. And I had a group, we had a literary group where we wrote poetry. And then I realized that from poetry, I can probably delve into another aspect of journalism, which is, another aspect of writing, which is journalism. It's a very good discipline. So I decided to start writing. And my first story appeared in The Voice back in 1980. And then I was living in Soufra at the time, because I'm from Soufra originally. I moved to Castries in the early 80s and decided to stay in Castries for a while. I lived in Castries for about 3 years, from 80 to about 83. And then it's about, say, 81 to about 83. And I was given the opportunity to write. The Voice offered me the opportunity. And afterwards, a gentleman called Earl Bousquet, who I'd like to big up as well, Earl Bousquet offered me an opportunity to get into journalism by writing for his then newspaper, Lucian Times. And then I started writing for the Crusaders. So I've been given opportunities by those various newspapers in Saint Lucia, for which I'm very grateful. And afterwards, I came up to the UK, went to the London School of Journalism, where I studied journalism at a degree level. And in the meantime, I was writing, but I wasn't getting much work. So once I completed my studies, I went full-time into journalism. It's been harrowing. It's been tough, because it's not easy for a Black journalist, irrespective of wherever you come from, to break into journalism in the UK. There's still snippets of racism that's lurking about, And I remember when I completed my studies, there's a lovely gentleman called Cousins Braid, who comes from Nigeria. He studied with me. He was editing a newspaper in Lagos, in Nigeria. He says to me, my Caribbean brother, come to, it's tough in England, man. Come to Nigeria, come and write for our newspaper, man. I'll fix you up with a nice girl, nice Nigerian, and you're gonna get jobs, and you're gonna, you'll make it. But I wasn't ready for it. So I said to him, let me spend some time here first in the UK, in London, and then try to make a name for myself. And then hopefully, if everything goes well, then I will contemplate coming to join you in Nigeria. At the time, what's his name? At the time, Saint Lucian intellectual, a Saint Lucian legal heavyweight, Sir Danny Alexander, who comes from Soufra and who's related to me on my father's side. He previously held the post of Nigeria's Chief Justice. So I read about him and I was motivated. But then I lost touch with Cousins Braid, and I never heard from him again. So I decided to stay put in England and continue writing. But I specialize a lot in Black reporting, should I say Caribbean and African aspects of journalism, whether it's crime reporting, whether it's celebrities behaving badly, whether it's fashion, but all the topics is aligned to Black, or should I say, African Caribbean journalism. And that is the niche. That is how I've been able to stay afloat, because the profession is extremely saturated, and you have, even whilst I'm concentrating on this aspect of journalism and on concentrating on being a Caribbean correspondent for the newspapers at large, you have other people who's basically coming on, other people who's throwing themselves onto my turf, and it's not easy, because sometimes you clash with them because they're doing the same stories that you're doing, and you have done stories, and then they want to do it. I remember one time I did a story about Lord Glenconner, Colin Tennant, who lived in between the Pitons in my area. And it was about him, it was about his passing back in 2010. I broke the story in the Mail. And before you know it, the Mail sends a reporter to Saint Lucia to cover the actual funeral. I wasn't happy. And then she calls me, she wants me to give her information. Another time you had another story which I did, and I wrote it for the Times, and the Times newspaper, instead of dispatching me out, because it's my story, it's my exclusive, they send this young reporter out there. When he gets to St. Lucia, he calls me and he says to me, Colin, what do the people like in St. Lucia? How do I get to cast trees? The way he says it, or he said it, sorry. And he's asking me questions, but I said to him, you should have done your research. I mean, you lot know I am from St. Lucia. I would have been able to fit in. That's my country, it's my island, my people. I would have been able to go there and do the story with the greatest of ease. So, these are the sort of things that you encounter, the biasness, the lopsidedness. They just want you to do the story, and then that's it. They will not involve you in developing it further. So I've been through that quite a lot. And it's the story of my journalism life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you can tell, there's a lot of ground that we need to cover, but we'll get to that at some other point in time.
Yes.
Even as we speak, you're getting ready for a major event on the 19th of June. First of all, why did you decide to start the research? I know you're from Soufrière and Flore Bois Gaillard was worked quite a lot in Soufrière as well, from that area as well. Give us a sense of why that particular story intrigued you.
That story intrigued me because I've been doing lectures. I've been speaking a lot about the Haitian Revolution, which started back in the 1790s, but the actual revolution, the declaration and everything before Toussaint Louverture was captured by the French, unfortunately, in 1803. Haiti declared itself a republic in 1804. But I knew about it a while ago when I was living back home. And I remember one time listening to Albert de Terville, a gentleman whom I've got tremendous respect for. He was talking about it, and then he mentioned it. This is about, I don't know how much, about 15, 20 years ago. And I'm thinking, I need to do something about it. So I've heard about her. I've read about her. I even spoke to a historian. I don't know if he's still around, but one of the DeVos. I spoke to, I don't remember his Christian name, but he is part of the DeVos family. Now, last year, it just dawned on me that we're talking about the Haitian Revolution, for which, I've always got, a lot of respect for Haiti. I love Haiti. I'm practically an honorary Haitian because I've been there so many times. I thought, we are in St. Lucia. We had a revolution which took place, and nobody has written about it. Nobody said nothing about it. Let us try to find a way to tell the world about it. Let us try to find a way to tell people about it. That the Caribbean had other revolutions other than the Haitian Revolution, which was successful, I would say, so far. Although none of our revolutions in the Caribbean was actually wholesomely successful, but partially to an extent. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something about it. So I got cracking. I wrote something in one of the local papers about it. I spoke to friends, and I then decided to invite them to the event. This is the place where I'm at the moment. That's where we've got a hall inside. I'm in the office, and the lady has a lovely lady called Joanna. She's afforded me the opportunity to use the hall. So we kept the event last year. Not a lot of people turned up because they claimed that the place was very difficult to get to. I can understand to an extent, but I did put things out there. I did put my number on the leaflet, and I asked people to contact me. I said, if you're having any difficulties, contact me. I'll tell you how to get here. We didn't have a lot of people. But we served some good food, some nice Caribbean chicken my wife prepared, some bakes and aqua, and people loved it, And I decided. So what I did from there, I said to myself, you know what, I will have to try and find a way to keep this event going every year. So it's going. I'm trying to get it etched into the memories of most of our folks, because our Black folks in the UK, our Black folks, wherever we are in the world, we're not really interested in our Black history, I find. We're not really interested in our Black history, especially so many years ago. You know what I mean? Flore fought that revolution, in the Battle of about 1795, where she decimated the British. She sent them packing, and she gave the French a bloody nose. And a lot of the soldiers who fell, they fell in the lake, and I understand a lot of their remains are still there up till this present time. So I thought, let us tell the world about Saint Lucia. Let me let people know, apart from the Haitian Revolution, Saint Lucia, a small island, just smaller than Haiti, had a revolution also, and not much has been written about it. So I've written about it, not extensively, but I intend to do a big piece about it soon. And we'll keep a ceremony to honor Flore. So we kept the ceremony. Like I said, a few people turned up, not many. So I went back to the drawing board. I said, from January of this year, not even January, from last year, July, I started writing and I started talking to people about it. So come next week, Friday, I'm hoping we'll have a gathering. We'll have a meaningful gathering. We'll have people coming and basically occupying the seats, and people coming in large numbers to listen and to watch a film. And a couple of other films that were sent by folks from Saint Lucia. And of course, my lecture, I'm going to keep it very short. Last year, I kept it for about 40 minutes. This year, I'm going to keep it for about 30 minutes. I want to keep it about Flore. I want to make it about Flore Bois Gaillard, the woman who fought the revolution to basically free us from enslavement, free us from subjugation, and the actual freedoms that we're enjoying today. The actual freedoms that when we take it for granted. It's thanks to people like Flore that we're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Without giving us any spoilers, what did you find, one of the things that you found most fascinating about Flore?
Her bravery. She was a very extremely resilient woman. She was very much part and parcel of the struggle. She was not selfish, far from it. She was dedicated to the struggle. She was very, how can I say it? She was very much aware of what was happening around. She's basically unassailable. She's unassailable. She was an indefatigable figure who basically put the interests of her country and her people before that of hers. The story goes that she was raped by this white slave master, and then she decided to take her revenge. So what she did was to get a couple of the Negmaos to come together and then burn the plantation house down. And when the British were at the peak in Saint Lucia, obviously doing terrible things, that's when she decided, you know what, I'm going to join with the Negmao, and I'm going to join, the Negmao is the freed blacks, or should I say the blacks who ran away from the plantations. And then we're going to do something to free our people. So Flore was very resilient. She was brave. She was, she was a very ebullient figure. She put the interests of her people first before that of herself, and that those characters, if that's for want of a better word, the ability that she basically those abilities that she embraced made her this unique woman. I'm not sure if the word ability is the right word, but should I say for want of a better word, I'm trying to find a word to describe the whole thing. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, all what I've just said there about her made her unique. It made her unique, and it put her in a position where she felt that the time was ripe. The time was right for her to start this revolution and to free her people. So she's a remarkable woman, extremely remarkable. And for that, I say kudos to her, and I've got nothing but tremendous respect for her.
It's interesting in terms of her achievements, to the point where a mountain on the Peter Flore was named after her. And I'm not quite sure when or who named it, but it basically shows that the magnitude of her contribution to the battle at Rabot, and plus I guess other things that she would have done during her lifetime as well, to have a mountain named after her. But since then, we haven't had that kind of honoring of Flore Bois Gaillard. We have done research and so on, but nothing national in a sense. What do you think can be done now for us to give her true recognition?
What I think needs to be done, that's a very good question. What I think needs to be done, we need a statue of her. A statue of her in Rabot. Now, I'm working towards that. Sorry?
How would you know what's...
Yeah, this is a portrait of her.
Oh, this is actually her, okay.
Yeah, that's a portrait of her. Yeah, that's the flyer I did. By the way, that flyer was done by my friend in Nigeria. She's a very good graphic designer. I want to big her up. Her name is Oluchi Ibiam. She does all my graphics, so it's very good.
Okay.
A statue of her would be befitting, and also a museum. I'm looking at the possibility of a museum, even if it's a small place we can get, where we can put, find her. I'm sure there's artifacts around. I was told there's quite a lot of artifacts around in Rabot. So if we can get some of her artifacts and even bring in other things, not necessarily related to Flore, but from that era, and we can put those things in a museum so people can come in and view, people can come in and see, and also a statue. And if possible, that's a bit too much to ask, but if the government of the day can designate a Flore Bois Gaillard Day, which is like June 19th, every June 19th. It doesn't have to be a national holiday, but a day where people can come and celebrate, commemorate, and people can come and pay homage to her. And also, we need to be able to tell her story. At the moment, there is not enough information for me to do a book, because I'd love to write a book. But if the info, because I'm searching, I'm researching, and I'm searching for information. So if there's anybody out there who's got information that I have not had access to, feel free to get in touch with me, because a book would suffice. We would need to get a book done about it, just in the same way that Jean-Jacques Dessalines of Haiti, Henry Christophe of Haiti, but he was originally from St. Kitts Nevis, one of the founding fathers of Haiti, and Toussaint Laouvre too, have had books written about them. We need a book written about Flore. So it's in a very literary sense, so people can get to know about her, read about her, and maybe do a couple of television programs. But because I'm not in the Caribbean, I'm not in Saint Lucia, I'm here in the UK, I've decided to do things here. I've decided to keep this thing here in the UK, in London, and hoping that people will respond accordingly. But like I said, in response to your question, what needs to be done is three things to keep her memory alive: a museum, a national day, not necessarily a holiday, a public holiday, and how do you call it, and a statue. So those things I'm working on, but funds are very limited. And when you do ask people for funds, everybody, especially when it comes to a figure of history or figure in history, you find people are not reciprocal. They don't reciprocate. They don't reciprocate well. So you have to find a way to raise the funds. So I'm looking for a way. So if there's anybody out there, including our government, other politicians or people of note who have the funds and they're willing to invest and they're willing to assist us to achieve those aims, I'm willing to sit down with them and I'm willing to listen to them. And I'd welcome them on board.
Definitely. So just remind us again, because the lecture is taking place in the UK. So give us an idea of where it's taking place and remind us of the dates, and Saint Lucians and other Caribbean people who are listening to this who may want to attend, how can they get to attend the lecture?
That's fine. It's Friday the 19th of June 2026, and it's between 6. It starts from 6. It ends at 9. So it's between 6 to 9, and it's at the Swingbrook Community Center, and that's 145 Acklam Road, and that's London W10 5TQ. And the nearest train stations, or the nearest tube stations, underground stations, are Ladbroke Grove and Westbourne Park. And to get there, if you're coming by bus, you would need to take buses 52, 328, 28, 452, 31, 70, and 23. Is it all right for me to give my phone number, the phone number for contact?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, the number for the contact number from Saint Lucia, you'd have to ring the 0044. But here in the UK, is 07495 227 959. That's 07495 227 959. You can ring on that number. You can WhatsApp me. It's on WhatsApp as well, and I will be able to give you directions if you do not know West London very well, because it can be a little bit difficult, because the building is actually in a block of flats, and a lot of people, quite a lot of people, were not able to get to it last year because of where it's located. But if you can ring me, I'll be able to direct you. It's fairly simple and straightforward.
So it's a very big anniversary, the 231st anniversary of the Battle of Rabat. And
that's
so
right.
It's a major, massive achievement that we need to recognize, a major milestone that we need to recognize. And obviously, we would like to know a lot more, but we can do so by coming to the lecture and getting firsthand from you what you found out in terms of your research and so on. And I suppose at some point, if it's recorded, that we get to share it in Saint Lucian across the globe as well. But it's certainly an important lecture that if you're in the UK or you're traveling to the UK and you'll be there for the 19th, that you can go and attend the 231st anniversary of the Battle of Rabat. It's a major achievement. The Saint Lucia Revolution that happened in 1795, as you said, ahead of the first, even before the Haitian Revolution.
Even before the Haitian Revolution.
Colin, we appreciate the work that you're doing in terms of documenting our history, and also the other things we'll talk about later on, because I know you're very involved in Creole, the promotion of Creole as well. So there's so much more that we will talk about at some point in time. Just a quick word in Creole for those who are listening in Creole to pitch the lecture that you're having next Friday. In Creole.
Non, je dis Creole parce que Creole c'est langue moi, c'est langue maman moi, c'est langue nous tout en Caraïbe là. Moi parler Creole, moi Haïti c'est Creole n'a parler, les moi les Martinique c'est Creole. C'est mon côté moi parler Creole là. Ça me veut dire c'est révolution ça après l'année 1795 qu'on a dit anglais. Bon, moi y a radio station Creole, yele Creole là tous les yele Haitian ça a thème haïtien parce que n'a parlé les mots passage un thème Creole nous a mis des thèmes haïtien dedans. Moi vieux yele tout le monde qui a écouté moi. Bon, moi voulais inviter tout le monde pour venir et puis écouter parole la mo kay bay la lecture parole la ngay bay la et ça nous kay faire les screen nous kay mettre les screen tout et puis nga oui merci monsieur Bernard Fanis ou bon ti cadeau m'a dit ça y est mais nga oui merci pour ça ou ka faire bon travail tout na gondi ou ka di big up na oui merci moi quand inviter tout le monde pour venir écouter la pas ni excuse pas là ça et puis nous jeunes cette liste nous jeunes Caraïbes là nous cacher tout excuse pour nous pas venir pour nous pas connaître l'histoire nous c'est pour nous connaître l'histoire nous qu'on dit Marcus Garvey dit un monde qui pas l'histoire là qu'on a pied bois qui pas racine nous supposons connaître l'histoire nous l'histoire Afrique si nous pouvions là l'histoire moi plutôt intéressé l'histoire cette liste l'histoire Caraïbes là avant les nous venus même c'est 600 années qui passé sorti Afrique et l'histoire qui était là c'est Caraïbes là parce que d'origine maman descendant maman c'est Caraïbes so moi voulais parler l'histoire ça tout nous pas ça parler on n'est pas parler tout you comprends moi parler ba ti monsieur africain l'autre jour il sorti Égypte il dit moi comme ça il dit moi c'est égyptien moi c'est africain mais moi nègre Il dit moi comme ça a chay zot noue, Jean noue, quand il faut pour moi, il dit hot me parler l'histoire zot. Et quand il dit l'histoire zot, après dit hot c'est Afrique tout seul. Mais nous qui sorti Égypte, qui sorti Algérie, qui sorti Maroc, nous pas nègres, nous savons ça, mais nous c'est africain tout. So nous mettez nous tout dans l'histoire africaine. Il dit moi ça mon catch les ça idea. Moi dit moi dit mettez même pas là bas cette ici parce nous t'en Caraïbes là tout. So nous mettez nous nègres même silence là parce que nous voulons dire l'histoire Caraïbes là qu'on Caraïbes. So on a invité tout le monde pour venir écouter l'histoire. Madame la fan chaiba nous parce que nous t'es esclaves. Blanc te ka tuer nèg, blanc te ka battre nèg, misère, blanc ka mettre nèg en misère. Madame la vini qui te koide, il goumé ban nous, il goumé là pour fuir nous pour nous pour pour tirer esclavage là pour mettre nous comme monde qui free, comme monde qui a liberté. Vous comprenez tout ces bail ça, il la blani ces vieux bail là qui arrivé nous il migane et qui mène nous ensemble et c'est pour nous apprécier madame ça, c'est pour nous on a dit encore qu'on dit chanter a dit apprécier chanter rebuff 70 chanter apprécier ça on ni moi commande au monsieur so on apprécier chanter ça c'est pour nous apprécier ça nous ni flow à nous apprécier flow et on a tout le monde venir ensemble nous venir le 19 l'autre semaine vendredi le 19 juin 6 heures au soir pour 9 heures Aklam Community Center, yon 140 Aklam Sunbu Community Center, yon 140 Aklam Road, et ça c'est arrondissement W10 à Londres. Si on a une pièce problème, couillez-moi. Mon cahier, bah, l'imo encore couillol, l'imo 07495 DD759. Couillez-moi. La pas une pièce excuse. Vini. Nous cahier mettre un petit manger, un petit bail pour moun manger quand il boit bail koyol Caraïbes là so tout le monde vini nous apprécier votre vini écouter parole ça m'kay bail là.
Merci Ashai, thank you very much Colin Maximin, Saint Lucian Caribbean journalist based in the UK who's doing exceptional work reporting on the Caribbean and also researching the Caribbean, especially Saint Lucian, as you mentioned, Haiti and the French Isles as well. So thank you so much and we look forward to the lecture on the 19th of June. And we hopefully that we'll get a copy of it so we can now share with our audiences here in Saint Lucian across the Caribbean. Thank you very much, Colin. All the best for your lecture on.
You're very welcome, sir, and thanks for taking the time out, and thanks for affording me the opportunity to talk about it. I'm very grateful to you. I'm extremely grateful, and big up yourself and big up Calabash TV. You guys are doing a wonderful job. You all the very best.
Thank you. All the best. Yes.